Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be doing something a little bit more spooky, more Halloweeny. It is a concealed case, but I do want to preface that it's going to be a little bit different than the concealed cases we've done before, and I'll tell you why. So most of you probably know the cartoon Courage the Cowardly Dog. I used to watch it as a kid, even though it would creep me the hell out. It was one of my favorite cartoons. Well, today we're going to talk about where that actually came from, essentially the story behind how very morbid realities can turn into cartoons. Before we do that though, I did want to thank today's sponsor, which is Shudder. Shudder is the Netflix of horror. It has the largest, fastest growing, human-curated selection of thrilling and dangerous entertainment filled with supernatural terrors, edge-of-your-seat thrillers, and shocking horrors added each week. You can stream all of the above for $5.99 a month or $56.99 a year, and on all of your favorite devices such as Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Xbox One, iOS, and Android. To try Shudder for free for 30 days, go to shudder.com and use promo code READYTOGLARE. The spooky season has arrived and Shudder has kicked off its annual 61 Days of Halloween, a 2-month celebration full of new movies and series like a new season of Creepshow and VHS 94. One movie I recently enjoyed is titled The Medium, in which a documentary team follows the niece of a shaman and things take a turn for the bizarre and terrifying. To try Shudder for free for 30 days, go to shudder.com and use promo code READYTOGLARE. Get started streaming the best horror, thriller, and supernatural content. Shudder's expertly curated collection includes must-see titles like Vicious Fun, The Mortuary Collection, and PG Psycho Gorman, plus all the best horror documentaries and the hit Creepshow TV series from executive producer Greg Nicotero of The Walking Dead. Thank you, Shudder, for sponsoring this video. Now let's get into this case. If you were like me as a child, you'd have a list of cartoons that brought you feelings of nostalgia. As children, you never really considered the inspiration for such silly cartoon characters or the absurd adventures they find themselves part of. I would just enjoy what was in front of me while I indulged myself to sugary breakfast cereals or leftover cold pizza from the night before. As an adult, revisiting such fun, frivolous fiction, you start to notice the mature jokes hidden behind the veil of a child's comprehension. These moments, whether dark or even sexual in shows you used to love, are usually nothing but a surprise and a knowing chuckle, how did I miss that? Sometimes, however, when one looks deeper, you feel there's something more conspiratorial, with deeper meanings that change everything about the show you once loved as a child. One such cartoon is Courage the Cowardly Dog. For those who don't know of this television series, it was an American animated comedy horror cartoon that is based on a dog, called Courage, living with an elderly couple in the middle of nowhere. Each episode, the three find themselves in mortal peril, whether it is because of the paranormal, supernatural, or extraterrestrial. The show is famous for being dark for adults and children alike, with a sense of impending doom. For more nuanced and understanding of the show itself, I suggest researching it or watching it yourself. What is not known by many is that there is, or could be, something sinister behind the inspiration for the show. The consensus being that there is some truth behind the theories, but as with most stories shrouded in mystery, the passage of time perverts the truth into superstition, ghost stories, and myth. Amongst the over-exaggerated tales, one must dig to find the core where urban legends are born, and in this case, it surrounds a possible murder and or double kidnapping. We will examine the case and parallels it has with the show. As previously stated, Courage the Cowardly Dog was in a place in the middle of nowhere, an actual place located in New Mexico based on a town called Truth or Consequence. Strange incidents were allegedly reported in the surrounding area, including a report from an elderly couple who owned a house some claim to be remarkably like the house in Courage the Cowardly Dog, that a skinwalker moved among them. The story states shortly after this alleged report, the elderly couple disappeared and only their dog was found giving way for conspiracy theories that may have been the inspiration for the show's plot. The only difference being that Courage would always find a way to make sure his owners were safe until their next misadventure. Unfortunately, while this place did in fact exist, the story of the elderly couple and the sightings of the skinwalker are unconfirmed. Some have speculated that the elderly couple fell victim to serial killer David Parker Ray, otherwise known as the Toy Box Killer, who lived just 7 miles north of the town of Truth or Consequence. He is a kidnapper, rapist, and murderer that investigators believe could be responsible for the deaths of up to 60 people. From what I gather, this is no more than a theory. There is, however, another story that is in fact confirmed to have happened that many believe add information to holes into the inspiration behind Courage the Cowardly Dog. About 120 miles away in El Paso, Texas, is the chilling story of the disappearance of William and Margaret Patterson. While not so elderly, 52-year-old William Patterson and 42-year-old Margaret Patterson, a seemingly ordinary couple, disappeared. According to reports, William was not considered to be friendly. He owned a photo supply business and some property in Mexico. Much like William, his cartoon equivalent was not a nice man and treated Courage with constant resentment. Margaret, however, was described as well-liked and friendly, much like her cartoon equivalent, who Courage loved. The Pattersons did in fact have a pet, but was apparently a cat and not a dog. There are many nuances, as you'd expect in any disappearance case of two grown adults, but new evidence as recent as 1984 came forward to provide some insight in the bizarre case. A man named Ronaldo Nangure, caretaker of the Patterson home, confessed that he had found blood in the garage, a piece of human scalp on the propeller of the Pattersons' boat. All this shortly after the couple disappeared. Nangure himself cleaned up the mess. As an undocumented immigrant, he was reluctant to come forward, but also stated to have seen some of the Pattersons' associates taking bloody sheets out of the home and throwing them into the trunk of his car. Theories link this incident to a man named Doyle Kirkland, who was in possession of William Patterson's car the day they were last seen on March 6, 1957. He was also another business owner of a photo service, and while competitors with William Patterson, the relationship was said to be friendly. There is much more to unpack, like a mistress in Mexico, and the property he owned there, so I encourage everyone to do their own research and find their own opinions, but this case is heavily linked to the cartoon Courage the Cowardly Dog, so naturally you'll find some theories involving the paranormal, supernatural, and extraterrestrial, especially when you consider how their belongings looked like they had just up and left, leaving only their cat behind. It appears the investigation into their couple's disappearance led investigators down many rabbit holes and little to no answers, and this can provide context into the many avenues in which Courage the Cowardly Dog explores. I, for one, will watch the show with a much more morbid sense of curiosity. This case I find extremely interesting just because there are so many avenues that you can go down, as we discussed. Like I said, there is more to it, so if you're interested in this, I would suggest continuing to do your own research. If you have your own theories, please comment them down below. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.